Ah, cultural impact. Now, what does cultural impact even mean? And especially, what does cultural impact mean in professional wrestling? Whether it's WWE, AEW, or any other wrestling company that wants to create the next top major superstar, like like this guy, Hulk Hogan. This guy dominated the early 70s, 80s, 90s too. And even the 2000s, people freaking love this guy. People still talk about this guy, we remember this guy's matches. But not only that, but his cultural significance that brought professional wrestling to the mainstream to what it is today. And even crazy characters like The Undertaker, who had insane cultural success, cultural impact, that he became a freaking legend. And not only that, people legit believed this guy was freaking dead. People still talk about guys like Batista, The Rock, John Cena. But how about in the modern day? My question to you all is that can WWE or AEW make brand new cultural megastars, or is that era kind of like dead, or is it still a possibility? But today, I want to try to answer that question for you guys from my own experience as a professional wrestling fan. You may ask yourself, who are the top major stars of today in professional wrestling? Not just WWE, but in AEW and elsewhere. I'll be glad to tell you. Now we have guys like Cody, guys like Seth, guys like Roman Reigns, guys like MJF, Kenny Omega, John Moxley, guys like Swerve, Hangman. Also, the young roster, guys like Dominic Mysterio, Braun Breaker, Logan Paul, Austin Theory, Bronson Reed, Trick Williams, Carmelo Hayes. And I could probably go on and on, but those are a few names that are recognizable today. But can they have cultural success? Can any of the younger talent become immortalized by us as wrestling fans forever, like a Hulk Hogan, like a Undertaker? Well, let me just rewind the clock back to the 80s and 70s per se. So back in the day, professional wrestling felt so real. Like kayfabe felt more alive than ever, and people legit believed hey, those guys were who they said they were. Like Ric Flair was Ric Flair. Dusty was Dusty Rhodes. Ricky the Dragon Steel was Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Stone Cold, no, not Stone Cold, not yet. And Hulk Hogan was this larger-than-life superhero. I'm gonna show you guys him again. Okay. This guy looks like a superhero, and his whole aesthetic is take your vitamins, say your prayers, and blah, blah, blah. We all heard the same tale before. But my point is that those guys have a major significance and made people legit believe, hey, and this is before, hey, these guys are who they say they are, and we want to cheer these guys, we want to boo these guys, and we're this invested into the product that we watch, and to the human beings that we choose to invest our time into. Now, in the 90s, things began to escalate, things began to get a little more, more hip, more attitude, and still New Gen per se. Guys like Bret Hart say he's Bret Hart because he was a great wrestler. Shawn Michaels, he attracted the ladies and he was the showstopper. He could put on any 5-star match you could think of, he did. Undertaker was a literally dead ghoul who kept on rising from the dead like a horror movie character. Guys like Ultimate Warrior was like a freaking comic book character come to life, if you think about it. And even the smaller guys, let's head on to WCW real quick. In the 90s, you had guys like Sting, who was a hero over there. He was like a surfboard guy. You actually believed he was a legit surfboard guy. You would see him on beaches and stuff like that. The Macho Man Randy Savage, he was this crazy man. Ooh, yeah, the cream of the crop. And the way that he would cut his promos was freaking insane. Close. And you had legit giant competitors. They would utilize giants like Andre, like Paul White, Big Show, guys like Kevin Nash. They had this overall presence that made them feel like, oh crap, this guy could squish me. But as we move a little further into the late 90s, you have guys like Kane, you have more high flyers, more technicians, more luchadors. Guys like Kane, like, he was legit. Like, Kane was like one of those guys where you would believe he would came out of a Friday the 13th movie, like he was Jason friggin' Voorhees. And you had guys like Gangrel, who people like felt like he was a cool vampire. You had really like inappropriate but like X-rated characters like Degeneration X that felt so rebellious. And most importantly, but being a top guy consistently in a company like that, in the middle of the Monday Night Wars or in the peak of wrestling in general, is a tall task that very few can handle. But for the ones that did handle it so well, to the point where people still talk about you to this day. That's why people still talking about the Attitude Era, New Gen, even the Old Gen era. Even casual fans would just name drop guys like, hey, John Cena, Hulk Hogan, Undertaker, Kane, Batista. Their whole aesthetics and their whole, like, what do you say, commitment to the characters was just a chef's kiss to it all. Now we get to the 2000s, the Ruthless Aggression era, where we would get a new crop of talent, like John Cena, the OVW4, and the whole bunch of other era guys. Like, the roster was basically combined into one, and that was awesome. You have the veterans, you have the old school guys, you have up and coming hungry talent, you have veterans, you have guys that can work, you have rookies that were believable. You had it all back then. But it's like now it feels like, to me, I feel like no one else can really generate that much, that much like cultural significance other than guys like Roman Reigns, guys like probably MJF, guys like John Mock, guys like. But I feel like that list is very short. But nowadays you have guys that are still proving themselves, and I commend them for that. You have guys that try their best to stay to their gimmick, but like social media, the IWC, and like everyone else has really high expectations, or they're just like flip-flopping all over the place. But my point is that being a top guy and being remembered from back in the day, I feel like it's way different from like being a top guy like now. Yes, it's the same carrying a company, holding a championship around your waist, people chanting and singing your name. But it's like feeling larger than life. I feel like that's what we're kind of missing now, especially in the more modern, sanitized wrestling per se. That's WWE, TKO, stuff like that. But hey, I'm not complaining, okay? Except Creative. Creative is just bankrupt and stuff like that. But they do still try their best to push guys. They trust certain members on the roster, like a Javon Evans, a Penta, what do you say? And the new NXT talents, like Mason Rook, guys like, damn, who else? And just several other members, if you guys can tell me in the comments down below who they really believe in, who could be a top guy in like the future per se. And also really betting on talent as well, who has it all, or like the total packages that are sadly kind of like wasted. But yeah, but I feel like the answer is a huge, like, the answer is like yes, but it's like it depends, because a guy like Roman Reigns, a guy like John Cena doesn't come around once in a while or stuff like that. It doesn't come around as very often. They come around in each passing generation, where we have to wait for that kind of guy to magically appear or just organically work themselves up to the wrestling mountain per se. And honestly, guys, I feel like anyone in wrestling can do it, but it depends on their promo skills, their wrestling skills. How will they be remembered, or what match will define them, or what in general defines you as a professional wrestler? I feel like that's the main question every professional wrestler or every aspiring professional wrestler should ask themselves when they look at guys from back in the day and now, because now we have such fantastic professional wrestlers that put in the work, that put in countless hours of trying to entertain us, and me especially, I cannot thank them enough that they put their bodies, they put their mental state, they put everything on the line just for our amusement. But it's that status where they want to be the greatest of all time. They want to be remembered as the GOAT. They want to be remembered as an icon. It takes a lot, and I mean a lot of fan trust, support, and cultural significance. Like, can you be that needle mover? Like I said, like a Hogan, Undertaker, Rock, Stone Cold, John Cena, Roman Reigns, Undertaker, Undertaker, damn it, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, or guys like a MJF, or guys like Hangman, Swerve, that bring like such a unique taste to the table. I know I sound like a maniac sometimes saying all these names, but I'm just going off of names that I can easily remember and say, like, hey, these guys are the freaking future of this business. Like Braun Breaker, Dominic Mysterio, Austin Theory, LA Knight. Even though he's 40, he can still go. Guys like Trick Williams, Carmelo Hayes, Mason Rook, NXT guys, and some Triple A guys like El Grande Americano, Chad Gable. They just have to utilize talent the right way. And yeah, that's honestly one of my videos here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and or subscribe. I'm trying to reach 200 subs by the end, by August. So I would really love your support. You have wrestling content here, such as tier list videos, horror movie content, and more. But this is just mainly a wrestling channel. Till then, just dig it. Yeah. Peace.